Hello everyone, this is Sam and this is Car Legion. Welcome back for another video. For today's video we have the 2019 BMW X5, specifically the BMW X5 i40 XDrive in beautiful white color. And for today's video, special thanks goes to Omar from BMW Auto House here in Ontario, Canada. If you want to know more about them and their cool car selection, you can go through the description box there, and at the same time 5 seconds of your time. If this is your first time watching my videos, if you want to go and check out my other videos and see maybe something that you like, I do reviews on different models, different type of cars, new cars, classic cars, modified cars if you are into modified cars too. Anyhow, let's roll the intro for this car. Okay, so here we have the 2019 BMW X5. Now this is the X5 40i XDrive, completely redesigned from a previous model. This year you will not have a BMW X5 35i. You have only the X5 40i and the X5 50i. Now this one is powered by inline 6 cylinders and it has about 335 horsepower, which is about 35 horsepower. But we'll go more in detail about that. The first thing we're going to start is the exterior, talk about some differences, some new features on this model, and then we'll go into the engine and move on into the interior, some of the cool features from over there. And then we're going to take it for a test drive. Unfortunately, we will not be taking this color for a test drive. We'll be taking a different model, which is the one that they use here for test drive. And today I'm at the BMW Auto House, as I mentioned previously. But this one is just for me to sort of like go through some of the cool stuff about this car, and then we'll take the other one for a test drive, which is exactly the same thing as this one. Anyhow, let's begin. Now, first thing first, key fob. Exactly the same as the key fob from the BMW 3 Series. I reviewed the same model and it's exactly the same. You have basically the basic features on this one. Surprisingly, I could not find a way to start up from here, and I don't think this one has the option. But what you do, basically, you have the unlock option, the unlock button here, the lock button, the trunk, and of course the siren here if you want to find out where the car is parked. Now, it does have the same feature as the 3 Series, where you basically hold the unlock button and you roll down, it rolls down the windows, and if the mirrors are folded, it will do that too. Now, the cool feature with this one is that if we go up here, it opened up the sunroof as well. Only one side over here, not the second one, but you can see just the basically to get some air from the top. It's pretty interesting. Now, to lock it and to basically roll up the windows again, you'll just press the lock button and hold it, and it will lock everything. It will roll up the windows, and the sunroof is as well. So that's pretty cool. You know, in case of summertime, the car is pretty hot and you basically want to get some fresh air in, it's perfect. Moving on to next is the rear. So let's go in details here and look. First of all, tail lights completely redesigned. Love the colors here. The reverse light is basically this one here, just a tiny, it has on both sides, as you can see. But I absolutely love this kind of shape. It's pretty futuristic. I love that part. Now, as I said, this is the 40i XDrive and the X5. Going down to the exhaust pipe. So the chrome here, it's mostly for design. It's not actually functional. So the actual exhaust is right here. That's the exhaust pipe. Same thing on the other side. Moving on to the trunk. So if you want to open this thing, basically you have a couple options. First of all, you can pull out the key and you can press the button over here and it will open it. The other option is similar to the 3 Series, where you basically slide your foot under here, and here we go. So you have two pieces in here. basically this one and the top. So in case if you want to close that one over there only, you have a button. Press this button here, it will lock that, and to unlock it you press it again. Now, as I mentioned, you have a few ways to open this thing. First of all, it's basically the old style, just press that button there. Or let's say you close this part here and you want to lock the car, very similar to the other BMW X5, and if you want to just lock the trunk, this part here. Now let's open this thing and go inside and check this one. Trunk is pretty big. It would seem a bit bigger than the previous model, or it's probably similar to that. You have a few options here in the back. First of all, if you want to fold those seats over there, you press this button, they will fold. You have it the same thing on this side as well. You have a 12-volt plug here, cigarette, and if you want to hang some stuff, you have this cool little hanging feature. Now, the cool part about this is that where it used to be the, well, usually on regular cars, there is a spare tire in here, you have some space underneath. And the beautiful thing is that this part here comes with dampers, so you don't have to actually keep it open. Basically, you press this and lift it, and it has sort of like there's a single damper in there to keep it up, and you got some space in here. If you're looking to get basically spare tire, you might have some space in here, but BMWs generally come with run flat, so you don't need them. The tow hook is in here, basically, and you have more space for other stuff you can put. Let's close this. Now, the same way you open it while sliding your foot underneath, you can do the same thing with locking. You just go like that and just step back. That's it. It's pretty cool. Now, moving on to the front. Okay, let's talk about this. Yes, it is big. It is big. Yeah. But here's the thing. You can get used to it. And the interesting fact about this is that it's actually functional. So you see, when you're driving down the highway at certain speed, these things open up to get some air inside. It's pretty cool, right? Get some air for the engine as well. Now, I know some people are not very, you know, they don't like this much, this kind of style. But in person, it's different. It's very different from a previous model. So it depends which angle you look at it. It's not that bad. I mean, compared to the X7, this is a bit smaller than that. I personally like it. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, that's ginormous. But when you come and see it in person, it actually looks okay, it looks fine. But the most important part is that it's actually functional. So that's one great thing, because if it was just useless in there, I didn't do anything, then definitely don't look that great, or it just didn't justify the size of it. So being that big, I find it to be fine. Like, you get used to it once you keep, if you see it a couple of days, like if you have the car for a week or so, you'll get used to just completely ignore it. Before we get into other details, let's talk about the price. So the previous X5, the F15, had a price tag of $69,950. Now the 2019 model, the G05 or G05 for some people, it's $71,500, the starting price. And this is for the 40i, and the 50i is $86,000. So basically a couple of $1,000 more than the previous X5. So you know, you still get some cool features on this, but the price is reasonable. And now let's move on into some other features for the exterior. Similar to the 3 Series, the daylight running lights basically have like a UV shape in here and here. It's very similar to the 3 Series. Same thing with the fog lights. Now at the bumper here, interesting fact is that this part here, unlike the 3 Series, it is useful. Air basically goes through and goes into the brakes. Moving on into the tires, 20-inch tires. At the moment they're running on a 275/45 in the front. Being an XDrive, these are standard, so it's not staggered or anything. Brakes, very interesting. The brakes on this model are big brake kits, so basically in the front are 4 pistons, and then you have the M style basic and M logo. Although this is a 40i, you still have those M badges pretty much everywhere. You got it in the tires, sorry, the rims, and at the same time you have it on the brake as well at the front. And then let's go to the back. Same thing at the back here, you got the M logo. These are single piston at the back. So those are some cool things about the exterior. And at the same time on this model you get the aluminum rails here if you want to put a rack. Now, size wise, the new X5 is wider, taller and longer. Much different than the other one. The weight hasn't changed much, although it is bigger, but very similar to the previous model on weight. Okay, let's move into the engine. First, let's pop the hood. Similar to the 3 Series, you press it twice. You still get the dampers in here. Now, look at that. The weird part about this is that the engine feels like it's lower down, like it's not high enough. So same with the brackets here, you can tell like there's so much space in between. But anyhow, so what we have in here, it's inline 6, basically 6-cylinder, TwinPower turbocharged. This makes 335 bhp brake horsepower, which translates to 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 in 5.5 seconds. It does have 35 horsepower more than the previous model. The same engine that you see in here, it will be used in other models as well, typical to BMW. They use similar engines in different maybe sedans or coupes, convertibles. So this is basically more, it has more power than the previous model. Okay, let's move on to the interior. First of all, to open, to unlock, basically, slide your hand in, similar to the 3 Series. Move on to the door. Unlock, lock button. You got 2 setting memory seats. Moving on to the interior, very, very similar to the 3 Series. Of course, the seats are a bit different, seem a bit higher. The screens are just a bit bigger, it would appear. On the side here, basic buttons you have for the park-ins, and then you have this one for the auto, basically turn on depends. And then the steering wheel, you still have the feature here to move the steering wheel position, not manual. Let's get into inside. Now inside here, it's very, very similar to the 3 Series. Of course, just things are a bit bigger here. It's an SUV, it's not a sedan. So let's move on into some features. First of all, the button as a 3 Series is located here to start and stop your engine. Let's do that. Okay, so let's start with the screens. First of all, similar to the 3 Series, a screen for your speedometer, the cluster, and the big screen here, 10.2 inch. Giant screen here. It's pretty good because for people in the back can actually see as well. And at the same time, you have the same exact features of the 3 Series. You have your traction, parking, and over here start and stop buttons if you want to turn that off. You have the driving mode, sport, comfort, eco, adaptive, and this is your auto handbrake. Basically, when you go into a traffic light, it will basically engage the brake handbrakes. In here you have your media, you have your home, map, and then browsers in here, a navigation system as well. And then you got your options. So let's go to the screen and see some of the cool features in here. So let's go to the media. Media, basically you have your FM, very standard. Go to home, you basically split the screen in half. You have the radio on that side and the map over here. You can control this with this button over here, with this sort of like a scroll button. This is not touch. It's basically you have to move up and down, left or right. And let's go to the options. Screen off. Oh. Okay, you can turn off the screen if you want, apparently. If you press that. Now, this does come with the option of having, if you want to turn off the volume, we basically go like this. And if you want to lower it, go this way. Very intuitive, very easy. See, I keep going at it, doesn't have, because it's all the way to the bottom. Temperature, here you have basically a number tell you what the current temperature, and you can use for the AC all the buttons in here. Now let's go into the media. Media, you can select whichever you want. You can even do mobile screen mirroring, basically. If you connect your mobile, you have Sirius XM, of course, paid membership on that, and then AM radio. Very, very cool. Now let's go back into navigation. This infotainment system must have the, oh, it's very intuitive. So if I move my finger here, okay. So what I was saying is basically is that you get the option of, hey BMW. It's not recognizing my voice, but basically what you do is that you call BMW and then it will help you. It's a voice control, similar to Hey Siri on your iPhone. Let me try another time. Let me try again. Hey BMW. Okay, it's not recognized. And so the other way you can do it is just press this button here. Find me McDonald's.
What is the name of the playlist?
No, it's not very smart in this one. Find me McDonald's.
I have found.
Okay. Yeah, so it did find McDonald's. Pretty intuitive. Now it doesn't do everything, but it will do some features. Turn off AC.
Please select an entry from the list or say correction.
Cancel.
Cancel.
Okay, so we cancel everything. Now into here. So the cluster, you still get a heads-up display, as you can see in there. And at the same time, let's check the cluster. It changes modes based on driving mode that you wanted. So we'll put it into sport. Turns into red. Let's put into comfort, and then eco drive basically changes the color into blue, more eco-friendly. Adaptive, based on prediction of the vehicle settings on the driving. It depends on what kind of driving situation you're on. It will basically adjust to that. Now let's look at the cup holders. In here you have, if you want to cool it, if you want to have it hot, basically if you have coffee and you want it to stay hot, you press it once is to cool them, and then to press it twice. So the interesting fact is that based on what you pick, it will change the color. So right now we have it on heat, and you have it in red. If you want to do cool, it will be in blue. And that's for both sides. Very, very good. You know, some people like to have their coffee warm all the time. You can just leave it in there. To close it, you pull this here. Okay, it's not quite, it requires a bit of force to, and then push it down. So okay, so to lock it, just pull it all the way down. Let me just turn off that. Anyhow, the other thing is that you got a USB charge in here. Let's look at the armrest. A lot of space in here. You have a lightning charge. To open it, you press this button here and it will just open like that. Pretty cool, very interesting. Seats are very nice. Now you still get them with heated seats as well, cooling seats in here if you want it. So you only get heated seats, you don't get the cooling seats option. Maybe that's an extra package that you can get, but at the moment you don't. Let me just put the temperature down because it's boiling in here. Very hot. Now let's move on at the top. So you basically, you have a massive sunroof that goes from the front seats to the back. But the interesting fact in here is that it does look like it's one, but it's actually two pieces, in front and the back. To open the first one, you press this. As you can see, it goes all the way to the back. The back one, it's much bigger than the front sunroof. Now, to open it, you open that, just to basically open only over here to tilt it. You cannot tilt the back. You can only tilt the front. Let's try to open the whole thing. So, what you can do, you can only open the front, not the back. That's just basically for to get some sun for people in the back. But what you do get is that during nighttime, you can have a light over here. Basically, it's an ambient light that goes from over here all the way to the back. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's lock this. Let's close it. Okay, we close it. I'm gonna close the sun shade as well and move on to the back. You just press it once and it will close automatically. Okay, moving on to the back. So, first of all, same idea with the 3 Series. Now, let's say that you open the door at nighttime and a cyclist coming from that side. What basically happens is here at nighttime, this thing flashes to let know the cyclist that the door is open, in case, you know, to make sure they don't hit the door. What you get at the back as well is your sunshade as well. You can lower it and put it back. Love this part, especially for if you're a passenger. Now, moving on to the back. Seats, very nice and comfortable leather seat. The armrest in here, you can close it and you get some space to put a child or maybe a third person in there. In the middle, to open this, just pull it down. Very basic. And you do get 2 cup holders in here, and you do get some space in there as well if you want to put some stuff, or just, you know, if you're eating or something. You just basically put it right in here, and then you can lock it. To close it, do the same thing. Very, very standard. Moving on, you do get your night lights here too. You can press it, you can do basically turn it off, and you can do only one. You can keep only one on. The other thing is here, very comfortable, a lot of space in the back. Very easy to see the screen. When you're staring at the front, very easy to see the screen. For example, you're going to a long trip and maybe you have your phone on, a video or something. Not recommended for the driver, of course, but you do get that option. And down here, what you get, let me just get the light a little bit. Okay, just for you. So what you get is basically control the heated seats in here. You can control the AC, the temperatures, and of course you can control the vent speed as well. It will basically tell you all the numbers in here, and you can check and you can change them based on what you want. Seats are very comfortable, a lot of space. Let me just point this one here. A lot of space. You do get light underneath the seat, the front seat, so you can see in case you drop something. Same thing on the other side as well. Very, very comfortable at the back, a lot of space. I feel like I'm in the front here. Doesn't feel like cramped or anything. There's enough space to move around, and if you're going on a long trip, you can stretch your legs a bit if the driver in the front moves a bit, but very, very comfortable. Love the leather seats in here. And at the same time, you do get an air vent on this side. You got two air vents over there, and then at the bottom underneath the seats. Okay, so moving on into, we are going to take this now for a quick test drive and see how it handles. I'm actually super excited. Let's go. Okay, time to go for a quick test drive. Now, as I mentioned before, is that the one that I reviewed, unfortunately, it doesn't have the plates, and that's not for a test drive. So we're gonna take this one now. Let me just fix the brightness. Perfect. Okay, start this bad boy. It's the same model, it's the 40i XDrive, it's just different color interior. It feels very high. Now keep in mind that this model, it's actually longer, taller, higher, and wider. Based on the description that I received, it is much more taller than the previous model. Now, it feels very high on the seat as well, and I have the seat all the way down. Right now we're driving into regular mode, basically comfort. And let's see. Feels very big. Okay. BMW says that they have moved the seat and it's a bit higher, so you have more visual towards your screen, your speedometer as well, and at the front. This feels very high from here. In comfort mode, the car feels a bit wobbly, kind of. The suspension system is softer, but when you go into potholes at low speed, feels like it's moving from one side to the other, sort of adjusting itself. But right now I have it in sport mode, and I want to put it into manual. You have the option to put it in manual by shifting the lever on this side. And at the same time, what you can do is that it's pretty much standard in every car, is that even if you have it in drive mode, you can just basically click one of the paddle shifters and you're basically into manual mode. And if you don't want to, it goes back to drive. Very standard. Right now it's actually been doing it in manual mode. Okay. Okay, let's push this baby. So right now I have actually the intelligence assist. So basically I get closer to the lane, it basically vibrates the steering wheel, tell you that you're going off the road pretty much. Very standard. Same thing with the 3 Series that I tested out. Very quiet inside, although you can hear the exhaust sounds, and the reason that is because, of course, the new technology, they have it on the speakers where you enhance the sound of the engine. Very standard nowadays. It took me a while to figure out from my Focus RS that it had that. I didn't know initially. So right now we're in sport mode. So when you shift on the left, it goes into sport mode. And to engage into manual, just press the paddles. Right now into manual 7, you got an 8-speed gearbox, automatic gearbox. Brakes are amazing on this. Got a bit of traffic here. Okay, we got no cars in the back. I want to do a 0 to 60. Here we go. So, model is. Damn, it's actually quick. For a car this heavy, it's pretty quick. You do get an XDrive in here, so therefore you got more grip. So it's much better when you want to do a takeoff. There's no spinning. If you have it a rear-wheel drive car, you'd be having a bit of spinning, but this one grips very well to the road. Now let's go over the railway, and I want to see. Very smooth. Nice. Very nice. Much better than the 3 Series. Now, as I said with the 3 Series previously, the 330i does not come with a big brake kit. The only one that comes with that is the 340i. This one, both models come with a big brake kit. I'm just gonna do a turn around here. No, we can turn around because I want to test out this road a bit more. Okay, we'll give it another go. Very quick. For a car with this engine and the weight, does very well. We're going over railroad again. Not bad, smooth. I like how it sounds, but again, you have those speakers that lie to you pretty much. It's technically not the exhaust sound, but it does sound pretty good yet. It has that enhancing package. Anyhow, let's put into regular mode now, into manual, and we have it in sport mode. Let's try into comfort, and we'll put into drive mode. Now the throttle reaction, it's much slower than you'd have it on sport mode, of course. Should we just go up there?
Go on one side and flip 360 in the air.
Do a 360 flip.
Barrel roll.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna try an eco. Eco is basically economic to offer better fuel economy, smoother ride as well, and at the same time, the throttle reaction, it's much slower. The other option you have is the adaptive. So with the adaptive, what happens is that the car learns your driving behaviors, and based on that, it will basically do the same thing. It learns how, you know, how fast you're driving, how you steer, and how you brake and all that. So it learns all your driving behaviors, that way it operates. So let's try turning radius. Very good. Put into rear mode in here. Okay, we're gonna go for another quick test drive. Let me try into sport. Okay, we're done for today. Oh man, I can have fun with this all day pretty much. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to know more about the dealership that I'm reviewing the car, it's BMW Auto House. Is located in Ontario, Canada. And for today's video, special thanks goes to Omar for helping out with this car. So anyways, thanks for watching.